Hello, I'm Leona Dooley, and this is Ebony, Ivy, and Thyme in the kitchen. And this is where we work hard, we love God and family, and we know without a doubt that everything else is just gravy. Now, before you go any further, if you are a tried and true member of the family, then I am so glad that you're here. But if you're new to my channel, please stop right now and hit that subscribe button so that I will be able to send to you all things done right here in the kitchen. So if you're interested in how I'm going to deck out this lantern, stay tuned. Now, this summer lantern, I'm going to turn it around toward you so you can see what it looks like from the front. You can see the back, and then there is the front. And this is our deck. And what we're going to do today is that we're going to put together a summer tablescape for two. So let's get down to it. I have the perfect colors. I have just exactly what I want. I usually leave these down on my table because they just protect the surface of the table. It's a wrought iron table and it has certainly lasted for quite a while. So as you can see, we're picking up the colors that are going to be in the lantern. Now, I have a touch of gold that is in the peacock ribbon. So I'm going to add gold chargers to my table. So they are in place. Then I'm going to add, we need white, because after all, we have the white that is in our lantern swag. So there's the white. So that white's going to be brought out. Now, hubby and I love salads, and I'm going to add a beautiful salad plate. This salad plate came from Pier 1. And so we're going to put those salad plates, but it picks up the colors. I don't know if you can tell, but it picks up the colors that are in our swag as well as colors that are a part of the deck. Now, we need a bowl because we're going to be serving a little bit of soup. I like summer soups. And so I'm bringing out my aqua teal effect with the bowls. Now, we need napkins, of course. So I am going to use my Pier 1 napkin rings. I have a white napkin, and I'm going to take one and put it in place. And it's not a large one, but it's just pretty enough. And I'm going to let that sit right there in our bowl. So there's one, and let's get the other. And then here's number 2. And you know, since Memorial Day, we still have to be careful. And so because of that, I am going to have a Memorial Day function, but it's just going to be for 2. So what a beautiful table setting for that. So here we go. We've got our lantern. I'm going to throw on some slow jams. We might have to do a little dancing, just the 2 of us, but the big guy and I are ready for dinner. Now, I'm not going to put the tableware out just yet because it's not near time for the for dinner. So when we bring dinner out, I'll put the silverware out as well as the glasses, because we'll serve the glasses from the inside. But I'm going to bring you in a little closer because I want you to see how these colors just complement. All right, so let's take a look at our table. So there's our table setting. You can see our colors. These are melamine saucers and bowls, but I'm going to move this because I want you to see the plate. The plate is gorgeous, and it just really picks up all the colors on my deck. Here's our lantern. That beautiful lantern swag. I love this swag because of the fact that the flowers are in white. I can use it in so many different places. So here's our second, and the saucer is exactly the same, the salad plate. So we are truly decked out for summer. Tonight, we're preparing barbecue ribs. Now, it was on my plan, ribs tonight. But the thing of it is, it could have been ribs, it could have been chicken, whatever you have available, whichever the case may be. But I had planned to do it on my grill. Well, unfortunately, we woke up to cold and rain. It's been raining and raining off and on all day. Just a nasty day. And so I decided, I'm not going to fool with that. I am going to do it in such a way that if someone walks in this kitchen tonight to sit down with us for dinner, they will never know that these ribs did not come off the grill. Because we're going to do it, first of all, low and slow. But second of all, we're doing it on a rack so it's high, and that the air will have a chance to get all around those ribs the same way they do when they're out on that grill. And it's going to give it that texture of the grill. When your ribs have been on the grill, they kind of have that little crispy feel to them, and that kind of crispy bite when you first bite into them. But you know what? They're going to be tender because I have them on a 300-degree oven. They were seasoned. We did that. We're going to do that together. And they are going to come out perfect. We're also going to fix some baked beans with it and some corn. So stay tuned. Let me first say that anyone who is not a pork eater can certainly prepare this barbecue dinner with chicken, with beef ribs. You can choose what particular type of meat that you want. You just have to use the technique. That's it. So, that's okay. If you're doing beef ribs, you're going to do exactly everything that we're doing right here. It's just going to be beef instead of pork. And you might really have to cook it a little longer because, beef can be tough, and sometimes it is. Now, let's take a look at what we're going to be doing. The first thing we're going to do is to pull off what they call the silver skin on the back. That's on the side where it's closest to the bone. And it's not easy. You have to slide your knife under there, but once it starts, it comes off pretty easy. So we're taking that off. So that's what it looks like. Ooh, gross. Ew. So then I'm going over to the other half of it and trying to get as much of that off as you possibly can. Please be careful. I'm having a disclaimer. Be careful because you can cut your hand if it slides. So be careful as you're trying to pull this off. And sometimes I even get a paper towel and kind of help myself along the way. Now I'm going to cut these into serving size pieces just because it's easier to handle. I'm planning 3 bones per person, so this is going to serve 4. And so you'll see I'm getting everything cleaned up, trying to keep as much on that mat as I possibly can. So let's wash hands. Now notice I've set up a system. This is a sheet pan that has been covered with foil. Now the foil is going to make tonight's cleanup so easy. And that's because of the fact that we're going to cover it with the foil. Whatever drips off the ribs is going to drip onto the foil. And at the end of the evening, we will throw all of that away. And the pan underneath is perfectly clean. And as long as I don't punch any holes in the foil, it really does come out just the way I'd like for it to. So it's just a matter of taking some hot soapy water, wiping it off, and voila, there it is. Now the rack that you see that I'm sitting on top of, it is in my Amazon store. You actually get 2. And so this rack, it has been sprayed with non-stick spray. So I'm going to lay the ribs after I cut them into their serving pieces. And like I said, I'm doing 3 bones per person. I just wanted to make sure I had the number of bones that I expected. And I'm going to cut down those bones, and we're going to get our 4 serving pieces. So you'll see that will go into place in just a moment. Now, once we've done that, then it's time for the magic to work, because we're going to start seasoning these barbecue ribs. And in between, I'm going to wash hands, I'm going to wash the surface. You're going to see there's a lot of washing going on. But once this gets into the oven, you are just going to be so proud of yourself, and the dinner is going to be so wonderful that you won't care. So let's get our seasonings out, and I've got a little teaspoon that I'm using. I'm going to put a teaspoon of house seasoning, and that's where I'm starting. Now, of course, it's going to take more than a teaspoon, so I'm just going to sprinkle over each one. I'm just putting a little tip of that spoon in and sprinkling some on each of the ribs on the front and on the back. So let's sprinkle that house seasoning on. This is going to be so nice, and they are going to be so well worth what you've done. Now, this is a job to do about noon in the afternoon, or you can even do it the night before. Prep the ribs the night before you go to bed. Put them in a Ziploc bag. Do all of this seasoning, all of that the night before. And then all you have to do is take them out. Now, you could certainly do this in a crock pot, but I'm telling you, you will not get the same effect. Now I'm going to put the pepper in, and I just knew this spoon was small enough and that the mouth of that bottle was large enough for them to connect, but that's not the case. So notice I'm shaking it over in the top, trying to do a little, trying to be clean, girls and guys. So I'm sprinkling some black pepper, coarse ground, and sprinkling that over the ribs, front and back, just like we did the house seasoning. Now, of course, the house seasoning has pepper in it, but it needs that extra. So I'm going to kind of pat that down, and then I'm going to start on the other side. So we're flipping back and forth. I could have done all one side, sure, but you know, I didn't do it that way. This is what I did. So I'm just taking you along on the journey. In fact, had you not been here and peeking, I would have just taken that bottle and gone sprinkle, 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 sprinkle across the top, and that would have been the end of it. But I'm trying to show you the right way. So don't hate. I'm trying to do it right. So there we go. I'm brushing it off the hands. Now, we got to wash one more time. Let's rinse it off so that we can keep things pretty clean. All right, we've got a little bit more to go, and we want to sprinkle a little pepperoncino, and then I'm just going to massage those ribs and rub everything in as well as I possibly can. So you'll see that I'm getting those rubbed and getting them placed on the sheet. So now it's time to wash hands again and start to put things away, because I have been touching some things, and I promise you all of those bottles got washed down with hot soapy water, because I don't want to carry the bacteria onto any other surfaces. So I'll clean up all of that and get them placed where they need to be. And that's a part of the cleanup. And that's another advantage of having a low and slow. Now we've got some garlic powder, not garlic salt, that we're sprinkling just a little bit on. And I know there's garlic powder in the house seasoning, but this is just a little extra to add to the ribs and add to the flavor. So everything's going to get put away, and before you know it, we're going to have those ribs ready to go into that oven. Now the oven's on 300 degrees, and we're going to sit the whole thing just like that into the oven, not covered, for the first 2.5 hours. Let's work on the baked beans. Now first, you can see that I'm frying some bacon pieces, and it's going to take a little while, but I want them to get a little bit crispy. So I'm going to just let this continue to cook until all of the bacon pieces are nice and just a light brown. Not hard crispy, but I do want them well cooked. And you'll see I've already cut up an onion. I'm also going to cut up some red pepper, red bell pepper, and that's going to give that the baked beans a level of sweetness. Now, many of you probably put green peppers in your baked beans. I chose red this time, not just because that happened to be what I had, because I had red and green, but I wanted to try the red pepper just to see if it would still hold the texture and hold the flavor. And actually, I liked it just as well. So red pepper is going to be going into these baked beans as well. So that's going to be onions, the red peppers, the bacon, and of course the actual baked beans. Now I'm using Van Camp's pork and beans. That's what I'm going to use, and I'm going to put 3 cans of Van Camp's pork and beans in this skillet. And you'll see that I'm going to just continue to flip the bacon over and over again until I get it to the level of crispiness that I like. And there's some little teeny tiny pieces. You see one jumped out of the skillet, so we have to put him back in, get him back in. And but you know what? If you can find a pack of bacon pieces, that keeps you from having to do all the cutting, and it just saves you a bit of time. So here we have the beans in. We haven't put, I put in half the onion, and I did actually grate up about 3/4 of a red bell pepper to put in, which is going to add to that liquid. I'm adding a little bit of house seasoning. I put in a little chunk of brown sugar. Oops. And I had planned to put in a pinch of red pepper flakes, but as you can see, the red pepper flakes decided to go for a swim. So I've got to clean that off. And once I get that cleaned off, then I can continue doing what I'm doing. Hey guys, it's a real kitchen. Things happen. Now, I know a lot of people would have edited that part out because you're supposed to think that everybody who cooks is perfect. But remember, this is a real kitchen. And these are the things that happen in the kitchen. Sometimes you drop it. So we're just going to continue on. We're going to let these pork and beans get started on low here. And then for the last 15 to 20 minutes, I'm going to put them in the oven and let them just kind of not so much brown, but I do want the sugars that are in this mixture to really intensify. So I'm just tasting to make sure I have enough salt, and once it's good, then I'm going to add it in. Now I did these a little bit early, but they're going to go in the oven. They're going to go in there, like I said, for about 15 to 20 minutes. And so I'll be happy when that happens. Now, I'm going to take those ribs out for a little while so we can baste them. You'll have a chance to see what they look like. And so let's pull those out. And I have to be careful because what we don't want to do is to drop it. And you know, we're kind of keeping up with two things. The rack that the ribs are on, as well as the sheet pan that's underneath. Now, I have been cooking these ribs for about 2.5 hours, and at this point we are going to take a look at them, see what they look like. As you can see, we're flipping them over a little bit because we want all the sides to have a chance to get done, get just a tiny bit crispy like they would on the grill. And you know what's coming. We have to start doing some basting now that that time has gone by. And every about 20 to 30 minutes, I'm going to baste them with another layer. And I'm going to do that for at least 4 times. It needs 4 layers of cooked on barbecue sauce. And today, I'm not going to make the barbecue sauce. Sometimes that's the big deal. I'll make that barbecue sauce, but I'm not doing that today. I'm going to use my favorite go-to barbecue sauce, which is Sweet Baby Ray. So we're going to get Baby Ray ready. I'm going to sprinkle some on for the first layer. I'm going to spread that. And after we get our brush and we brush it all over, we're going to turn it over and we're going to continue to brush. Now, how many of you have a little silicone brush like this? It is worth every dime. I got this one at TJ Maxx. I know 12 years ago. I've had this brush forever. And if you ever see one at TJ Maxx or at Home Goods or at home, grab it because they are well worth their weight in gold. I use it all the time, whether I'm putting on butter, whether I'm spreading a garlic paste, or if I'm, of course, barbecuing. I use this brush. It comes in so handy. So we are just going to flip these over. Let's get some more sauce on them. And what you don't want to do is to lose it. So you have to be careful and make sure that when you're flipping that you don't flip it out of the pan. So this is layer 1. All right. There we go. They are starting to really look just exactly like ribs off the grill. And that's what I was hoping to accomplish. You know, guys, I thought the camera was on, but I'm going to take this off because I have re-sauced for the second time. I placed a layer of sauce on these ribs. I want them to go 4 layers deep of sauce. 4 layers deep. So I'm going to bring in a little closer so you can see them. And I want them to have that look of just coming off that barbecue grill. Okay, now there we go. So we are on layer 2. Don't they look pretty? And they're cooking on that rack. But see, cooking them low and slow, that means by the time dinner time comes, they're going to be fall off the bone good. That's what we want. Fall off the bone good. And they kind of have a little crispy like texture as if they've been on the grill. 300 oven, 300 degrees. Low and slow. We are getting ready to get these ribs out of the oven. They've been basted 4 times and they cook slowly on a 300 oven for 3 hours. Now, like I said, you could have done these in a crock pot and just let them go. But I promise you, the texture and the feel of them would not be the same. You'll love this. Move this paper towel out of the way and get you over close to these ribs. They are going to be perfect. Now, because they still have a minute well, actually, they've probably got about 15 minutes. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a little more Baby Ray. Now, this is a 18-ounce bottle of Sweet Baby Ray. And I've used probably 3/4 of it today to get these ribs the way I wanted them. And I tell you what, cooking them on the rack is so much better than cooking them in the pan. Because when they're in the pan, they have a tendency to be very, very, very wet. And you know, when you're cooking ribs on the grill, they don't come off wet. They come off a little dry, a little crispy. And I'm going to flip these over so you can see the other side. Oh yeah. Oh gosh, they are beautiful. See how they pulled away from the bone? Okay, they're about to get covered up, and when I uncover these, they're going to be going on my plate. Okay, let's get them covered. And they're just going to stay right here. Right there. Okay, so beans are in the oven. Corn's in the oven, and dinner is about 15 minutes away. I am so sorry, but you know what? When the big guy comes out of the man cave and gets his hands washed and his tray out 30 minutes before time for dinner, well, first of all, you know, he can smell how good that dinner's going to be. Second, you know, he's hungry. And so it's time to get things moving. And that's exactly what happened. So I had to stop and do the things I needed to do to get our plate ready. So look at that plate. Oh my goodness. We've got ribs, we've got corn, we've got pork and beans, and on top of that, we got homemade iced tea with lemon. Voila!
It is so good.
I am so glad that you came and had dinner with us tonight, here in the kitchen of Ebony, Ivy, and Thyme, where we work hard, we love God and family, and we know without a doubt that everything else is just gravy. Now, if you would like to see other things and to be notified when I upload, please subscribe. If you like all things done in the kitchen, whether it's cooking, cleaning, or decorating, subscribe. Hit that subscribe button and tap that little bell, because what that bell does for you is that it will ring every time a new video is put up. Now, I am just happy as I can possibly be that you've been with me this evening. Now, dinner, of course, was delicious. And we had a chance to chit-chat and to talk and just kick back and have a great time. You know what? Family. Right here in the kitchen. That's the best place there is to gather around that table. And that's where you get to know the heart of the people, right there at your kitchen table. So bring them in when we can. Now, I look forward to seeing you tomorrow right here in the kitchen. I'll see you soon.